Oh, she still got on her hospital bands.
I just got home not too long ago. But I wanted to see y'all's faces and say hi, and I miss you guys already.
Oh, we miss you
I
too.
don't know how to sit down, like, for real. So here I am on the stream when I need to be asleep. I'm about to go to sleep because I took some of the good meds.
Go to bed. I forgot to tell you, Rudy said a good prayer for you last week.
Oh,
When you got off.
I appreciate y'all.
Rudy lifted you up in prayer. We were gonna do the same thing today.
No, keep them coming because when I tell y'all I can barely walk, I can barely getting in the bed took like 20 minutes. It's no joke. It's no joke. But it's
How long did they say you're down for?
6. Well, my FMLA says 7 weeks. So
Okay.
I see my job back in January.
Gotcha. But you should be able to move around again when?
Hopefully, I'm hoping like in a week be more mobile.
Okay.
Like right now, my dad had I had to put like 90% of my weight on him trying to get in the house.
Gotcha.
So,
you had to get upstairs or?
I mean, well, I came through the front. So, you know how the front has like 2 stairs.
Okay.
But them 2 stairs was the devil. So, yeah. But y'all have a good time tonight. I saw the topic and I said, see, this is why. That's why I'm on the thing.
I said, and if Janessa was gonna be there, I was gonna battle. I said, Janessa not even gonna be there, so I got to show up.
Nobody wants to listen to just me and Rudy.
That's what may have to happen for next week, but we'll talk about that later.
Hold it down. But yep, I love y'all and I'll see y'all.
Love you too. All right. Feel better.
Love you too, sis.
Top
of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Worst Ones podcast. This is the platform for us preachers' kids to come together and be the worst. My name is Rudy Wilson. I am one of your PK's hosts, or whatever. What are we? Panel? I don't know. Terry Wayne in the building. Kellie Lee in the building with the fresh braids. Y'all seen Janessa, and on the sick and shut-in list. So we're gonna keep praying for her.
I don't think she meant for that to be broadcast. That might have to be audited, like edited out.
Oh no, it's definitely being broadcasted.
Right,
you're gonna get in trouble. You're gonna be in trouble.
Definitely getting broadcast. Terry Wayne, how you doing, sir?
Doing all right. Probably gonna have to move here soon. Is what it's looking like in March.
The rent was going up, right?
40%.
Yeah, going up something crazy. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but that's all of South Florida. Is getting pretty ridiculous. We were looking originally. We were looking to move to New York because, believe it or not, it is cheaper to live in New York City now than it is to live in South Florida.
Wow,
no joke. So,
do you get more space though?
No. That's the one thing Well, it depends on where you live. Because when everybody thinks of New York, they think of the tiny little apartments and whatnot. Absolutely. And that is true in Manhattan, but it's just Manhattan. If you go to like one of the boroughs, like if you go to the Queens or you go to the Bronx or you go to like we were looking at Yonkers, which is about I don't know, maybe a 45, 50-minute train ride from the city. Then you're looking at houses, you're looking at, and it's normal stuff. But yes, it's very much less expensive there than it is here. But it looks like I'll be moving to Nashville.
No, why Nashville?
Well, my sister just moved up there. My niece lives there. It's the market's good, the economy's good. It's more of I'm from Tennessee. I've been to Nashville many times.
Okay.
I don't know, but when you can't stay where you are, you just start looking around. Atlanta was in the conversation. It was in the conversation. But
It is microphone sound good or still bad? Just
Out of curiosity.
Still bad.
It's still bad. Yeah.
No worries. Go ahead though. I just try one more time.
Nope, not tonight. Is your girlfriend moving to Nashville with you?
Oh yes.
Oh, okay. Is that a decision that you guys made together? Did you make it for her?
Yes, because her mother and her grandfather live in Louisville, which is about 2.5 hour drive from Nashville.
Okay.
So she's got family in the neighborhood. And then her father goes 6 months on he partly lives in South Florida, but then he also partly lives in Atlanta. So, which again, not that far drive from Nashville.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So
you said that's in March?
Yeah. That's what it's looking like.
We'll see if we'll still be here in March for the move.
I don't know what that means, but
I'll actually be in. I know you're gonna be gone, Kelly. Did you say you leave? You going somewhere for Thanksgiving, right, Kelly?
Sunday. Mm-hmm. Oh, am I on mute? No, yeah, right. Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm saying I'm actually going to Atlanta for Thanksgiving. I'll be there for 2 days, but yeah,
I'm going to Florida.
Right.
Can you guess where?
Right.
Look at can you see my nails? Can you guess where I'm going?
Remember you told us last week, but I forgot.
Look at my nails. Take a guess. Can you see what that looks like?
Orlando?
No.
Yes. Going to Disney World.
Mm.
Oh, that's a Minnie Mouse thing or something?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a ladybug. I didn't know what I was looking at.
I got you.
I don't know what I was looking at. But got you. Yeah, Disney World. Yeah.
Minnie Mouse.
That should be lit.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
They said y'all leave Sunday.
We leave Sunday. Come back Saturday.
Yeah. Y'all staying on a resort or something? The Disney resort?
We're staying at Animal Kingdom.
Who is y'all?
So me, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my nephews. That's not that fun.
Nah, I thought
you know, I had no man, so it's not like
that's what I was asking.
I had no man, so it's a family trip. But I just got off the phone with my nephew. I don't know if it's my turn, but I'm gonna go anyway. Just got off the phone with my nephew. And I've been watching the Harry Potter movies. So I've been thinking about you guys because
that's the devil's work.
When we did the Harry Potter episode, however long ago, I hadn't watched the movies. And I want to go back and listen to see what I even said about it. Because I had to watch the movies. What could I have given to it? But I remember Risa was on that night. And she had watched the movies. I can definitely see why the church said, don't watch Harry Potter.
It's delightfully whimsical. Why
did it? What's your points on that?
Because and I think it depends on age, but definitely for young, immature audiences, because it is a lot of spirits. You can agree to disagree. There is a lot of like spirits and demons, and in that piece, not necessarily like the spells and the the waving of the wand and the witches and the wizards. Not because of that. But there are some spaces where it does get a little dark. And you talk about like, the spirits and demons and demonic things. And, so yeah, I can see where the church didn't advise it for younger audiences. I'm enjoying it. I'm on movie 6 out of 8. I'm gonna start reading the books afterwards. I don't know why it took me so long. Me and my nephew were hype about going to Harry Potter World. So it's
I've been there. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm gonna buy a wand.
Yeah, you got it.
So I got to get a wand. I got to get a little scarf or something, a little tie, something.
You know how the wands work there, right?
How do they work?
Well, when you go to Harry Potter, now I didn't do this, but I've seen it a bunch, and I've gone with other people that have done it. When you buy a wand, there's actually there's a microchip in it, and when you go to different parts of that little Harry Potter world, you can use that wand and flick it at different things, and it'll actually make stuff happen. Like you can go up to like a lantern or something and be like, and then it like turns the lantern on. Yeah.
Turns on. Yep. No, I'm super hyped. So my oldest nephew, I'm doing this with my oldest nephew who is a teenager. So he's 13. And so I literally just got the phone with him and I'm like, hey, I know you're 13. I know you're a teenager. I know everything embarrasses teenagers. I said, for next week, I need you to be a kid. I said,
right.
30-some-year-old aunt is going to be a kid. I said, let all that teenage, 8th grade, middle school, let all that go.
Right.
And I said, and bring out your inner kid.
It'll happen naturally.
So I'm super excited. I'm like, and I didn't tell him, but I'm like, your aunt got a Minnie Mouse nails. I got Minnie Mouse ears for every day. I got some leopard print for Animal Kingdom. I got some sparkly ones for Magic.
Cause I was gonna ask that because it sounds like y'all gonna be there like a week or something.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all hitting like different parks each day type thing?
So each day,
hopefully.
So each day we'll go to a different park, Monday through Friday. Well, Friday we'll do the two. We'll do the Universal and the Island of Adventure to do both of the Harry Potter worlds.
Okay, let me save you. Let me just save you.
Okay.
Universal is garbage. Islands of Adventure is where you want to be.
But Universal. I like Universal too. Islands of Adventure is good because they got the roller coasters, but I like Universal. The Spider-Man ride, the different stuff. Universal straight.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I hate. I'm not a big fan of Orlando in general. It's a place for kids. I loved it as a kid, but as an adult, I look at those people who are like, the people that are like nuts for Disney as adults. I look at them like, something's wrong. Something happened. Something happened to you.
Something happened to me, honey. When I tell you, I am so excited, and I need it because this week has been really crazy. Since the topic is real crazy today, I'm gonna ask y'all this question. As
not that crazy.
As drug users, so I had this. Well, I don't even know if I should say it if it ever goes viral. Well, I guess I'll say it this way.
I wouldn't live your life around that, but go ahead.
So I had a student at school who ingested, I guess, 2 edibles and 2 mushrooms. Got really high, so high he got sick. In the midst of all of this, he also distributed it to another student. The parents feel that the act was impulsive. Mm-hmm. That he impulsively took these drugs and impulsively gave it to another student. Mm-hmm. As drug users, and I say that in the nicest way possible.
You drink coffee. You're a drug user too.
Do you guys feel like, does that sound like impulsivity to you, that was an impulsive act? Mind you, this is a young man, probably 14, 15 years old.
I can tell you exactly what this is. I've seen it personally in my life. This is somebody who doesn't know about edibles, probably smoked weed before, but doesn't realize that edibles affect you in a very different way. Mm. By ingesting THC, it affects you in a very different way than by smoking it. Smoking it, you can measure out. Like you can take a hit, take 2 hits, see how you feel, then take another hit, see how you feel, stuff like that. Like, and it's by smoking it, almost instantly. You're talking about like maybe a minute, maybe 2 until you feel where you're going. With edibles, you don't know what's going to happen until like 30 minutes down the road. A guy that I used to buy pot from, he used to make edibles, and he liked me because, I paid on time. So he used to give me edibles a lot. Like he would just throw a couple cookies in or something like that. Okay. And then a mutual friend of my girlfriend's and I came over one night, and he's like, "Oh, I'll eat it." And I was like, "You need to be careful." I said, a dealer made these. Like you need to be careful. Uh-huh. And he's like, "I got it." And I said, "Maybe just take a quarter of a cookie, and then we'll see how you feel." And he's like, "I'll take half. It'll be fine." He was dead. I mean, he was on my couch like that. Right. He couldn't drive. He couldn't walk. Like he was just, and because it hits you in a very it triggers a different thing in your brain. So I could totally see like a 14-year-old being like, I got this, yeah, you eat this too, and then next thing they know, they're on another planet. Like, yeah. And I've taken edibles legally. You know, I have a medical marijuana card. So I can go to dispensaries, I can get gummies or chocolates or anything you want. But they can hit so much stronger. Like
just smoking, and to be honest with you, at the high school level, we're having a lot of issues with students overdosing, I guess, on edibles. You know, I guess for that reason that you don't get that immediate high, you know, and young kids want that immediate gratification. And so, like you said, I can do it, I can do more, let me eat more. And so many of them are, you know, having so much of it that they're having such an adverse reaction to it.
You got to stop saying overdosing. You can't overdose on THC. It's not. It's impossible. It's not possible.
Well, they're taking too much that it's making them literally sick that we have to call 911.
I mean, you don't have to call 911. They're going to be fine. You could take a whole pack of edibles and you're going to be high for a very long time, but you'll be fine at the end. You'll always be fine, you know?
Well, that's good to know. And maybe that's what they bank on is that at the end of the day, no matter how high I may get for however many hours, he looks frozen again until you just lose however many hours that you're going to be fine.
Yeah. And that's when you're dealing with somebody that did take too much THC, that's something you really need to reaffirm to them just to keep the panic level down, because it can trigger panic attacks and stuff like that. When you feel like, is this going to be forever? You get the same thing from, you know, Nas that you get from the dentist, you know, there's, but no, there has never been a recorded death caused by THC. Ever. So it's,
I think, and I can just imagine that it's scary in the moment. I think I had an experience where I watched someone have too much edibles, and they had a very adverse reaction, and I'm like, no, not me.
Well, plus it also goes to the milligrams. What's the dosage? Like I have edibles right over there in a box. I don't really take them very often. It's you know, it's usually like if I got a weekend off or something and I just want to relax and watch movies and zone out kind of a thing. But even then it's pretty rare for me to do that. But they're 10 milligrams. That's not a lot.
Low.
That's a pretty low dosage, but they go all the way up to 1,000 milligrams. Gotcha. So the biggest thing I would tell you to, you know, pass along to those kids is just know what it is you're taking, you know.
And I think most times they don't know. Someone makes it at the house and then brings it and, you know, let me share with my friends. And
that's why it should be legal, because then it would say it right on the package, 10 milligrams per gummy in my case. Or because if it doesn't say it, you don't know. It could be like that cookie that my old dealer made, because that thing was probably like 100 milligrams. And that kid taking half of it probably took 50. And that's why he was comatose for a day.
Yeah. But I've had a long week, needless to say. And so super, 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 super excited about a week at Disney World with my nephews. Because that's my heart. Like, I don't know a love quite like I love those two young men. So to spend the time with them. What's that face for? You have nephews.
I do have nephews, and I do not have that same.
He's like, I don't love him the same. He's like, that's what.
No, I mean, I love them, but I wouldn't say like I've never known a love like this before.
Like I've loved my nephews, nah. Like I mean, that's a different type of love.
I guess.
Absolutely, men.
I don't know what to tell you. And
Janessa was here because Janessa has nieces and nephews, and I'm sure she'll say the same thing.
I got a niece and two nephews.
Yeah. And I don't know.
Have you ever known a love like that before, Rudy?
Well, I mean, we just don't got that type of connection though. Like, you know, like they know me, but I wasn't in their life every day. I wasn't like that uncle, like picking them up from school. So, like, you know, I'm their mama brother more than I'm their uncle.
Well, I mean, I'm their uncle. I'm Uncle Terry. You know, like.
But I'm saying, but they call me Rudy. They don't even call me Uncle nothing.
Oh,
They just say Rudy.
No, they call me Uncle Terry. I've watched him. Like when my sister will go on vacation or something, I'll go to the house. I'll stay at their house and take them to school, watch them, stuff like that. But no, it's just different. You know, the older one is autistic, so he's got his own, world that he's living in, and it's a challenge and it's difficult. So you're trying to we get it.
It's not a love you've never known before.
Yeah, exactly. You're trying to mitigate his world with yours, and then the younger one is exactly like I was as a kid. So I just want to choke him a lot, because I was a very obnoxious child, and he is a very obnoxious child. So
you don't understand.
Oh no, I completely.
He's like, I know this love. This isn't a love I don't know before. I know this love.
I know that love. But more importantly, I know that hatred. So I'm just trying to correct his path by saying, look, you're going to have to stop with all this because it's not going to make you friends. So trying to help him.
Well, my nephews are my whole heart. I love those. And probably until I have my own kids. Those are my babies.
Yeah, see, that's what it is. It's as a woman, it's your nesting instinct coming out.
Yeah, that's why I said men. Yeah.
Yeah,
we've talked 30 minutes about things unrelated to whatever our topic is.
Yeah, it's like when a female tiger takes a puppy under their wings and we're like, you're my baby now. I think that's what's going on. And by the way, I'm not dogging on Orlando and Disney and all that. I know it has its place. I'm just saying as an adult, I would much rather go down to the Keys.
You can do that too.
Not spend $8,000 in Orlando.
Disney World is magical.
It's so expensive. It's crazy how expensive it is.
It's magical.
It's like $150 just to get through the gate.
Well, Terry, you would be able to afford it if you were like this person who we're getting ready to talk about today.
All right, with the transitions.
Transition. I'll be back while y'all transitioning. Wait, we don't even know how you are. I guess we don't. How are you?
It don't matter. At this point, I want to talk about a stripper in pastor's clothing. Take it away, Terry. Explain how we got.
Oh, that was. I don't know about that. That seems
start of a sermon.
Yeah, I know. That seems weird. This isn't a stripper in pastor's clothing. This is a pastor who said, you know what, this doesn't pay as much, and became a stripper.
That's not what she said, though. How you just gonna change the narrative? She clearly said she always wanted to strip, but she took the pastor route because of her strict upbringing.
Right.
She didn't just decide now she wants to strip as an adult. Like this is something she always wanted to do, but she just felt like she couldn't because of her upbringing.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting thing, and when you read the article and she says how sheepishly she started off. She's like, oh, I just started send topless pics and then this and then that. And it's kind of like, the way I read it was dipping a toe into the bad side of life. But I think this is why pastors' kids get such a rep too. It's because a lot of the times, when you constrain somebody, when you put somebody in such a, like you said, such a regimented life, there's going to be pressure that builds up. And the longer that pressure builds up and the more it builds up, the bigger the explosion is going to be at the end. And that's how you go from pastor to stripper. Yeah. If she would have just had a few wild nights out when she was 19,
But that's what I'm saying. But that would be the normal case. But in her particular situation, like she always wanted just say the wild nights out. Like she never wanted how she was brought up. You know what I'm saying? It even said she went ahead and came out as bisexual and all this stuff. Like she just eventually just walked into who she just already was, which is why I even said a stripper in pastor's clothing. Because in a normal situation, from the surface level, when you first just read the headline, you would think like what you said. Oh, the church wasn't paying the bills, and she was like, "Well, let me go get this money." But then when I read the story, I'm like, "Oh no, this is just who she just always wanted to be," and she just finally decided to live it. And I actually understand her reservation at first, like when she first get into it, only kind of just sending little light stuff out, because for me, that's how I was transitioning from preaching to comedy. Like when I first was posting videos on Facebook or whatever, I wouldn't be, you know, I would either not cuss in it on the video, or if I did cuss, I would like edit it out or whatever the case may be, because I'm trying to, like, you know, see how far I can go before the real judgment starts. You know what I'm saying? Because you do have this perception that you, and now granted, I'm in neither situation. I wasn't making money off of preaching nor comedy, as far as, you know, in that aspect. And then so I wasn't switching, and then I also didn't want to be a comedian my whole life, so I'm not necessarily in her shoes. But I'm just saying, like, I do understand, like, you know, where she's coming from, as far as like, now that you're stepping into something that looks completely contrary to what you stood for, you know, you kind of you going, you know the dog's coming. They coming, you know what I'm saying? So you kind of like try to brace yourself, you know, for them to get there.
I see what you're saying, but I mean, you're talking about being a stripper like being gay. Like, this is just who she was born to be. And I don't agree with that at all.
No. I'm not saying. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm more of a nurture versus nature. So what I'm saying is, what propelled her into wanting that life, I think, was the constraints of such a rigid conservative upbringing. Because like I said, the more you tie people down,
that could be true. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. I'm just saying, but I disagree with, as far as like us trying to change the narrative to say that she later wanted to strip after becoming a pastor, you know, and made a decision based off that. Like, whatever her reason was before she actually got married and became a pastor, the stripping thing and the exotic whatever, like, she wanted to do that, like, you know, before even stepping into that world. But she just felt like she apparently had to conform to, you know, the life that would be pleasing to her parents.
But I think
and this is a biological woman. I feel like we need to say that this is a biological woman. It's not like one of the many variants of other women now. Go ahead,
Kellie.
But I think the interesting part to me, or for me, was, right, so she had this underlying desire to be a stripper her entire life. And right, that's something that she was exposed to, something that she saw. That's not something that you just know from birth, that like, I want to be a stripper. That was something that I saw, that I enjoyed. Right. And there's an art to stripping. You know, absolutely. And so I thought what was interesting for me is that she became a pastor. Not that she was just, you know, a regular working woman that was devoted to Christ, or, you know what I'm saying, or went to church or whatever, but she was a pastor and a shepherd of a flock. I'm assuming, as a pastor. You know, and I'm like, man, what, like, it made me think about, what did her upbringing look like that she felt like she needed to be a pastor? It's just a question that I had, versus just
But you know what it looked like though. She you know what I'm saying, she probably couldn't wear pants or whatever all the other crazy stuff is. I'm sure, like, you know, she probably couldn't have boyfriends, and I'm just assuming. I mean, I could be dead wrong, so I just want to make that clear. But I'm sure if you're using the word strict, like Christian upbringing, strict religious upbringing, like, you know, even to a certain degree, I felt like I had a strict, you know, Christian upbringing, and mine wasn't strict.
Hey y'all, sorry to interrupt, but we have a few church announcements. Follow us on Instagram at The Worst Ones PK. New content coming soon. We also have a TikTok at The Worst Ones PK. No content yet, but continue to check us out. If you want to, when you listen to our podcast, you can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your podcast. Just make sure you type in The Worst Ones Podcast and you'll find us. And when you get there, make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, and you share. Thank you to our 500,422 followers. We love you so much. Now, back to the show.
You know, especially if you got one of the mamas who like, oh no, I don't feel it in my spirit. I don't think you should go there. You be like, man, you know, the hell with your spirit. You know what I'm saying? I want to go to whatever, but
Golden Glide.
Right. But when you got people who, you know, not just going by their spirit, like they going by the strict, like, you know, Bible rules, church bylaws or whatever, like they, you know, and whether they being hypocritical or not, like that type of, you know, upbringing, even like Terry said, can push you to, you know, maybe that desire or maybe, like I said, she just got exposed to it and liked it, but because of the upbringing, just felt like she couldn't do it. I mean, it could go either way, but either way, she literally only became a pastor, seeming like because of the upbringing. Like, but if it wasn't for her upbringing, and she had parents who was like, yeah, no, be free to be you. You know what I'm saying? Like, she probably would have never gotten married and did the pastor thing. She would have just, you know, just went straight into the stripping. But the way the story is, you know, reads, it doesn't seem like she felt like she had that option until after a while she just got fed up with, I guess, trying to fake it.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I knew a lot of kids that were pretty sheltered growing up, and I've always said the same thing. The more sheltered their upbringing is, the harder they're going to fall as soon as they become adults. And I'm telling you, everyone I grew up with, if they were sheltered, it's like a 100%. They fell in some way or another. Either they got in trouble with the law, they went to jail, you know, they got into drugs, they did this and that.
Right.
And that's the negative side, is like, because a lot of parents, especially back in like the 70s, 80s, 90s, they thought like if you just gave a child the structure and you gave them this regimented kind of thing, that they would just learn it and adapt to it. But that's not what people do. You know, people have a tendency to defy authority, not embrace it. So, you know, could you end up with like a kid who just embraces the authority and falls into it? Sure, but I've never known one. I've never known one at all. There's always some kind of blow up at the end, because you're an individual person. You have to feel individual. When teenagers rebel against their parents, what do? They do the exact opposite of what their parents do, whatever they believe. You know, because you want to try the other side of the line. You want to see what's on the other side of the fence. So what my question for this is, because I know this has happened. It's not in the article, but I know it's happened, that somebody from that woman's church went to that strip club and got to watch the show. I just want to know what that feels like. You know, you got your what used to be your pastor up there on the pole. I mean, what are you thinking? Like, oh, titties is better than certain sermons you had.
I mean, is that okay?
Or is it like, oh, that makes me feel now okay? I'm weird. I got a very weird boner going on here.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong for walking away from preaching and stripping? Or are you wrong for still being in the church and coming to see me strip?
Exactly.
Yeah. like you still in the church. I at least walked away. Like if I go to hell, I go to hell. You actually still supposed to be. And you in here looking at titties.
Hey.
But is it okay to make that drastic of a career change? I think to me it calls into question whether she was called to pastor in the first place. So I think we've talked about in the past. You said what?
I'm saying she wasn't. I think
right. And we've talked. I know we've talked a lot about that in the past in terms of preachers, pastors not being called
or text.
You being called right now.
Listen. And nobody ever want to talk to me until Wednesday nights. Phone be dry until Wednesday nights. But so I know we've talked a lot about pastors who were not called to pastor, and then they're misleading their flock. So like you said, Terry, so this was my pastor for this many years, and then she steps down, and and maybe it was a public step down and whatever, but I didn't know what she did next. And I pop up on OnlyFans or, at Cheetahs, and, here she is. Me as a Christian, me as a former leader of her flock, how do I feel?
But if you a former leader of her flock, why are you on OnlyFans and why are you at Cheetahs? Let's talk about
why
that.
are you finding them? Well, because people
clearly,
talk. You're gonna find out one way or the other, you know.
But who knows what she was even imparting in my spirit? If this is in her spirit and you supposed to be spirit led in the church, then what you have in your spirit is probably going to move into mine.
Right, but
which is why I'm on OnlyFans, because you on OnlyFans.
But I think no. First of all, that's BS. But because if you on OnlyFans, that's just because that's what you like to see. And it ain't got nothing to do with you. Nobody.
Yeah, there's plenty of
free. I'm on OnlyFans.
No, so listen, there's plenty of free porn on the internet. You don't go pay for it on OnlyFans without an agenda. All right,
absolutely. Yeah. But
I've never been on OnlyFans.
There's still a difference between somebody who's pastoring and actually going after being a pastor and not called, and somebody who became a pastor because they felt forced. You feel what I'm saying? And I feel like her walking away, to me, even if her decision is sinful, go to hell, whatever, so on and so forth, to me as just a human being, I can respect that, because I would much rather her just go live her truth than, to your point, like she's living just say a double life, you know what I'm saying, and trying to hide it and whatever the case may be. And then to Terry's point, just say one of the members do walk up in one of them clubs or whatever, they like, is that Pastor Sarah or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, and she throwing it back, making it clap, all this other type of stuff. Like, okay, that'll look crazy if you are still under the impression that this is your pastor. But if I have a pastor, if I have a pastor who steps down and is like, yo, listen, I wasn't supposed to be doing this in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like this, my upbringing made me, feel like I kind of had to do this, but like I'm about to go live my truth. This is what I'm about to go do. Like, for me, like, once again, do I have to go follow their career or whatever? Not necessarily, but I'll walk away like, with a clean slate with that pastor. Like, that pastor wouldn't owe me nothing.
So you can't have an OnlyFans and be a pastor?
It depends on what you post on. I mean, there's people who post other not naked stuff on OnlyFans. They post real estate and all this other type of stuff. But if you post it,
but you ain't making no money.
If people paying behind the scenes to see you visit people at the hospital and pray for them or something, or whatever, maybe they want to see like the.
Hey, listen.
They want to see the real pastor work or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
It's just that's just human nature, and I'm not even gonna. That's just human nature.
Can I be a stripping pastor?
You can do anything you want to do, but it don't make it what you want.
Is it okay for me to be a stripping pastor? Can I be a stripper and a pastor?
Well, I think the real question is stripping okay?
Right. So can I? Right.
I'm asking. I think that answers your question. That you have to determine if stripping is considered, I guess, a sin or not.
Well, Mary Magdalene was a prostitute, and Jesus
prostitute
saw her as
two different things.
I'm just saying, Mary Magdalene.
Was she a pastor?
Right.
Mary Magdalene.
She wasn't a stripper or a pastor.
I'm just saying, Mary. Well, if I could fucking finish, the thought, then maybe you could answer intelligently.
Ooh.
Mary Magdalene was a prostitute, and Jesus still found her worthy. Was she a pastor? Was she a pastor? No. Do some people believe that she wrote a gospel? Yes. There is some evidence to say that Mary Magdalene wrote her own gospel. And but what I'm saying is Jesus saw her as worthy to follow him. So, and she was a prostitute, which I think we can all agree is worse than a stripper, as far as morality goes.
Between a leader and a follower. So, being a pastor, you are a leader of the church, and you are wanting people to follow you. You just said that Mary was a follower of a leader.
That's like saying, was Jesus Christ and a prostitute? Like he was out there. Like, could he be both? Like, he couldn't. Like, he had to choose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Look, the Bible is filled. The Bible is absolutely filled.
Could Jesus be a stripper?
The Bible is absolutely filled with morally dubious people that went on to preach and went on to
But can they do it? But the question she asked is, can they do it?
In some cases, even
they had to
disciples.
change their lives. They found Christ to change their lives.
Right.
But
I'm trying to answer your question. Could you be a stripping pastor?
It's stripping bad.
Can you? So what's your answer? Yes or no?
Yes. I don't personally. I don't have any problem. I don't have any problem with stripping. I don't have any problem with prostitution.
Wow. Yo, your pastor naked. You got niggas slapping on the ass.
So can I have a pole in the sanctuary?
I wouldn't say that. No.
We're going too far. So there's boundaries. There's limits. Yeah. Can't have a pole in the sanctuary. Can't start my sermon with a little dance for the church.
Hey, I grew up in a church. You couldn't have a soda in the sanctuary. I'm pretty sure stripping pole's out of the question. But
you probably could she strip in her church suit? Don't take nothing off. Just only do the moves.
Again,
I'm saying because if it's not wrong, then you should be able to do it inside church, right?
Hey,
or you can't strip in pastor.
Again, in a Pentecostal church, you're not even allowed to dance.
No, I got you. But I'm saying
strip dancing is out of the question.
But not so much as far as church rules. We're just saying as far as I guess in God's sight. Can you be in there?
I don't think God cares. I don't think God cares about you stripping. I don't think he cares about your body at all. He's like, I made that. I made that. I see what you're doing.
So you don't think that the Lord cares about me taking off my clothes and dancing for people for money? The Lord, Jesus doesn't care about that.
I think he cares more about where you are. I think he cares more about where your heart is, where your morality is, where your focus is in your life than what you do for a living. Well, if we're on the morality track, what would he care? Would Jesus care if you were, let's say, an investment broker that was splitting up a company and is going to cost 25,000 people their jobs so he can make money? Would he care about that? Would he care about that more than a woman stripping to make an honest living?
I think the point is that he cares, right? I don't know if it's a more or less. The point is that would the Lord be happy, and I think, right. So the Bible says, and we all know I'm not the biggest Bible scholar, but I know, and hopefully this is even in the Bible, that your body is a temple.
Hopefully. Yeah. And what happens to the temple? People go inside it. So.
Oh my.
People go in the temple.
My interpretation of that is, to keep it sacred, to keep it pure, to keep it whole, that women should only lie with their husbands sexually. And so if I am, and this is, the church that I grew up in, and so if I am out here broadcasting my beautiful body, my breast and my butt, to men, for them to fantasize about having sex with me or wanting to slap me on the behind or grab my breast or whatever, is that of God on Saturday night and then go to church on Sunday and talk about holiness and being separate from the world?
Well, I'm saying that you're kind of seeing this through the myopic lens of your own upbringing and your own culture. Would you say that, say, a classic work of art like Madonna of the Rocks, would you say that that is immoral, that that's a pornography?
Let me
because okay. Would you say that that's immoral?
I don't know what that looks like. I don't know.
Okay, well, let's take the Venus de Milo. How about that? You know what that one is? It's a sculpture of a naked woman. It's in the Louvre. It's considered one of the most important sculptures in history. But it does show a woman naked. Is that pornography? Because that might have been, we don't know culturally. We just know from what we know from history. But We don't know what it was like back then. That could have been the stripping of that day, is to sit in front of Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo and let them create art out of your naked form.
So let me be clear, right? So I don't think the woman's body is negative or bad by any means. I think it's the way in which you present your body and the purpose of that I'm talking about. A woman's body is beautiful, and to use it as an art form, I wouldn't necessarily say that there is something wrong with that. I think it is how you are using your body, both men and women. Because there's male strippers just as much as there are female strippers.
I wouldn't say just as much, but go ahead.
I'm not gonna tell my personal life. So, but okay,
they
so
exist. I just said
so there may not be right. There's
much.
Not as many male strippers as there are female strippers, or it's not as commonplace as there are female strippers. Absolutely. But it's not. You're not hard pressed to find a male stripper somewhere. But you made me lose my train of thought.
Sorry.
I forgot what I was saying.
Well, just remember when you're looking at this. You're looking at this through our lens. You're looking at this through our lens of right now, here today, where stripping is just, it's been taught to you since you were a child. Like, stripping is a seedy underworld kind of immoral thing that they do, as opposed to somebody who poses nude for an artwork. And that's okay. That's art. That's this, that's that. But if you do it with,
it can be art. Be clear. I feel like have you seen the athleticism of some of these strippers? Like, that is a sport. That is a first of all, some of these women stronger than y'all.
I agree. That's doesn't take much.
I would like to see y'all climb up a 20, 30-foot pole and stand on top of the
I'm not gonna do it because it's a sin.
I don't think that's a sin.
So then you can strip and be a pastor then.
I think it's an art form. I think that some of these women are.
So I'm asking, so you can strip and be a pastor.
I think it can. I can see where it may be confusing to Christians, and I guess it depends on what you're wearing as well. So just because I am pole dancing doesn't mean that I am a stripper.
Oh,
I'm not asking
a whole
about
different
pole
thing.
dancing. I'm asking about
So I'm talking about the athleticism and the art form in pole dancing. Stripping.
So let me ask you this real quick.
Hold on. Stripping implies that I am taking off my clothes for the pleasure of someone else.
I'm tracking, but let me ask you this: when it comes down to pole dancing,
that's nothing.
Let me ask you a question: Is that literally you dancing and you touching a pole, so that considers pole dancing, or is it an erotic dance? Like, as far as the art form itself, like even when you're doing whatever the different tricks are, is it erotic even if you had just say full clothes on, as far as like the movements and stuff like that?
I don't think pole dancing equates to being erotic. No.
You don't?
No, because you can go down, if you go down to your local gym, chances are they got a pole dancing class there for exercise.
Bro, you're not saying anything nobody doesn't know. I'm talking about as far as the actual movement. They have twerking classes that can, for exercise, but that's still right. But that's what I'm saying. But that's still an erotic dance. Like, if you twerking, like,
but me climbing up on the pole, I just think that people just automatically equate pole dancing with strippers and pole dancing with something sexual. But I don't think that in all cases. So
that depends on the person.
But I think I don't think in all cases that is the case. That sometimes I can dance on the pole and it isn't meant to be sexy. It is truly a show of my dancing, my strength, my athleticism.
But who would pay for that though? Who gonna come see somebody?
It's not even about paying for it.
What's that got to?
Well, because the whole thing was about being a stripper and being a pastor. So like I'm saying, like if the pastor was just taking like pole dancing classes, I don't see anybody looking at that crazy, or taking a pole dancing exercise class. But we're talking about like something that is like contradicting to, like, just say, I guess, what the Christian belief is. And so I'm saying, even if it wasn't taken off of clothes, once again, if you was twerking, if you was my pastor and you was in your full church suit but you was throwing it back. Like my imagination could go far enough, especially if you was built a certain way, without you having to, whatever. So
yeah, but whose sin is that? Is that their sin that you think that way, or is it your sin?
If you're the pastor, I mean, according to Kellie, it's the pastor's sin because she on OnlyFans because you said you on OnlyFans because your pastor on OnlyFans, so apparently it's the pastor's fault if they twerking, and I like it.
No.
Well, again,
the pastor's supposed to not do anything that's supposed to trigger my sin.
That's just human nature. If you see somebody, and it doesn't have to be your pastor, if there's somebody in your life, and then you find out about some nefariousness in their life, you just have an instinct of being like, oh, let me check this out. Like, I remember I used to work in an office, and it came out that one of the women that worked there, actually, I was pretty good friends with, had done 2 porn movies. And the links just got spread around. Of course I looked at it. How could you not?
Yeah,
how do you avoid that?
That's still different. We're still talking about a pastor, not somebody who's at the office.
It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that it's that human nature that if you've got somebody in your life, yes, for sure. with a pastor, obviously is amplified because again, you look at this person as a somewhat of a model of what you're supposed to lead a moral life after. And, but it's the same feeling. It's just amplified with a pastor. It could be your neighbor and you would check it out.
Right.
You're going to tell me your pastor you're not going to check it out? That's crazy.
But I'm saying, but as far as with this woman, I just feel like I don't, even if she is doing something wrong by being a stripper, I feel like she did the right thing by just going ahead and doing the stripping thing, as opposed to trying to continue to be a pastor, knowing for a fact like that's not where it's at for you. You know what I'm saying? Like your heart ain't there, your mind ain't there. Like you don't really want to do this. You're just trying to, And then what was even crazier was she said like she got scolded for being a pastor because her peoples felt like a woman should just be in the kitchen and taking care of kids. So, you know what I'm saying? So like,
so I think you could see, and not saying that her family was right, but I think you could see her rebellion. So, and I forgot that part, and so that makes sense on why she decided to be a pastor, because you can kind of see her rebellion spirit all the way around. And as we talked about in the beginning, usually the kids that were sheltered the most are the worst ones, and so you assume that it's the preacher's kids, and so that's why we're the worst ones. But even her deciding to be a pastor when she clearly knew in her heart that wasn't what she wanted, but it sounds like this was the rebellion against that. Because not only am I'm not supposed to be a stripper, which is my heart's desire, but I'm also not supposed to preach the word from the pulpit either as a woman, and I'm going to rebel on you in this. So I feel like it's the same function of her behavior being a pastor and a stripper. Both of it was rebellion. She just felt like in the beginning, the pastor one was just going to, it aligned a little bit more with what was right. But it was still a rebellion against how she was raised. And then she decided, I'm not getting the satisfaction or whatever that I wanted from this anymore. Let me go and be me and do what I enjoy. And even her ex-husband said she the happiest she ever been.
Right.
I said, we got a statement from the ex-husband.
Well, here's the question, because you can't do this forever, right? Nobody wants to see a 50-year-old woman on the pole. Like,
it's called Claremont Lounge here in Atlanta, I believe. But go ahead.
Yeah, I know Atlanta, and I've been around Atlanta some.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure I know about that particular place too.
I've never been all the way.
Where it's just gross. Because I went up there for a show one time and somebody said, "Hey, you want to go to the strip club after the show?" And I said, "Okay, that's fine. I don't care. I hate strip clubs." But that was an interesting one. If it's the same place that I'm remembering, where it's just old, beat up.
I've never been.
Saddlebags of women. Yeah, no. But that's kind of the point of that place, is that it's a strip club on things you'd never want to see. But the point is, here's what happens. What happens if she gets to the age where she can no longer do the OnlyFans, can no longer do the strip club thing, and says, oh, okay, well, now I'm going to go back to the pastoring thing.
No, she did a regular job like the rest of us.
Yeah.
She needs to be, you can't be a pastor, and a part of it again.
There's no prodigal sons for pastors.
I see the want for the attention, the want for the prestige, the want for everyone to come and look at me and follow me. Like I see patterns of her behavior because in being a pastor, you have all of the attention. You have people. You have to prepare a sermon, just like you had to prepare a dance for everyone to come and look at me. You come to see me. You pay tithes, you pay OnlyFans, you pay whatever based on how good of a show that I give you.
Like I don't buy that. I don't buy that. Why? Because she already had the attention as the pastor. She wouldn't have had to leave and get more attention. She already had it.
She wasn't satisfied with that anymore. But the function of her behavior was the same: wanting attention and being rebellious. Same thing. Pastor, what she didn't want to do, what she did first, and then going to be a stripper, which is what she doesn't want to do. I can almost guarantee you that when, like you said, when she's too old to be a stripper and no one wants to watch her on her OnlyFans, she's going to find another profession that gives her the attention and that is rebellious against what her parents think that she is, thinks that she should do or what she would be. I can almost guarantee you that's the pattern she's going to continue to have.
I'm looking up right now. I'm curious to see like how big was her church, because like what if she actually had like a church that like she was banking and she was like, man, I don't even want this. I want to go throw this ass. Like, that's
well, it sounded like she thought that she couldn't do both. Is what it sounded like, because she could have gone to strip and been a pastor.
But she probably just. But I don't think it wasn't about she couldn't do both. She didn't want to be a pastor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think she just wanted to be a stripper.
Well, this was just more of an example. This was just a story to be an example of when preachers decide to break bad,
It says Nikole, she's a 36-year-old female pastor who swapped out. Okay. Nikole Mitchell is a mom of 3, former pastor turned explicit content creator, left the church. She was working back and forth and came out as bisexual, started building a new life. She attended, so she got kids and all. Like she had done built a whole little life, and she just like, you know what? Y'all ain't gonna take my youth.
How old is she? That's another question.
36.
Okay.
So just barely.
Well, I guess she's 30. She's 38 now, because this was September 2020 when this came out.
No, that is just barely hanging on to stripper age. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, she still look young enough in these pictures.
Right. I said she still look good in the pictures at 36. Don't
I understand, but there is an age limit to stripping.
There isn't an age limit. There is a look limit.
Right.
Okay.
Because there are some 45, 50-year-old women that look better than some 21, 22-year-old women.
I'm not going to dispute that. Elizabeth Hurley, the actress, is a great example. She is in her 60s, and I'd smash today. Like, I mean, she looks amazing. So I'm not going to say that's not true. I'm just going to say that is a very, very small sample size. For that, because that's a unicorn.
You know what even makes me think about what the church size is, because I feel like there could be a lot of people who can stop being a pastor and become a stripper that never makes the news. You know what I'm saying? But as I'm looking at this, like, she done been on Jimmy Kimmel and everything. So my question is, like, to your point, Kelly, was this another move to bring the attention on me type thing? Like, as I quit,
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Or was her church just big enough where, her name was already notable enough that it just came with the territory?
Either way, I think it was another attention-seeking move. Either way, I think whether she had the attention because the church was big or she didn't have the attention because the church was small. Either way.
But what if she was just finally? What if this was finally her honest move, and she just was like, "I'm just gonna just let go everything."
I mean, I do think that is her honest move, but I do think the underlying function of her behavior is the same.
But you don't think everything leading up to this could have been just say the attention seeking but this one just kind of looks like it because it's, you know, it almost like The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Like she's actually doing the right thing.
There's a lot of pastors, preachers who are searching for attention. And they are able to get that. And the hard part is that, well, the sad part is that, right, back in the day, you used to have a halfway decent word for someone to show up to your church. Now you can be an Instagram preacher and spit out foolishness and get all sorts of attention.
Well, so and I'm sorry. So
I'm saying, so I feel like the uncalled to preaching definitely see the glitz and the glam of, you know, I can have 5 to 50,000 people hanging on my every word for 30, 45, 60 minutes every week, twice a week, 3 times a week. I definitely feel like for the uncalled, there is an attention seeking, a power seeking, a control seeking function to that.
Well, there is one aspect of this that we've not even broached.
What's that?
Which is, what if she's preaching sermons from the stage? You know what I mean? Where's the moral ambiguity there? If she's saying, look at this, but listen to this, you know what I mean? Like she's drawing them in with the titties, but she's dropping the knowledge at the same time.
So she preaching naked?
I'm gonna tell you
on the pole.
I'm gonna tell you, as a person who has done a comedy show / burlesque show, they don't care about anybody else but the titties. Like they weren't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But
like we was telling jokes and they were just like, okay, so is this the
they ain't even laugh.
Right? Do I order a drink when the comedians are up? Like, when are the titties coming back?
Oh, I've done comedy shows at strip clubs.
No. What I'm saying is, so
multiple times.
If you was throwing it and then you think I'm finna listen, you ain't even got to be talking about Jesus. You could be talking about finances. I don't care what you're talking about. Like, if you are throwing it, I don't care about the conversation. Throw it. We can talk another.
Hey, I've done, like I said, I've done multiple shows at strip clubs, and the majority of them have gone very well, to be honest. Because there's almost like that.
Y'all not performing while they stripping though. You just at the strip club.
Sometimes, but no, I've done red light right down the street from my house, Abby Ballin's room, now at least, where they literally have a window looking in at the strip club stage, and then they've got comedy over here, and those shows still go well. Like you can get the eyes off the titties, you know.
Yeah, ain't nobody finna get saved with titties in their face.
Or maybe more people will. You know. Yeah. You draw them in with the titties. You draw them in with the titties.
Maybe they will, but they'll think the titties come with it. They'll be like, okay, well, yeah, I'll follow Christ, but I need these titties to stay.
Right. So then I never be able to go to a sermon and go to church again without breast.
Right.
No. Yeah. And that's not synonymous with the Lord.
Well, but just real quick before we close, but back to the pole dancing, Kelly. That's why I asked, was it like sensual or whatever? Because, like I said, even with twerking, like even with clothes on or whatever, like that's still it, and that's a natural African, all this, you know, that type of background to it or whatever. But like, you know, it's still an attention getter. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I've never really like paid attention to every move of just say the art of pole dancing. But that's why I was asking, like even with it just being on the pole, did it have, you know, some type of like little eroticness to it? Because
I don't think just because it's pole dancing it means it has some type.
No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying I'm asking in the art form of pole dancing, like when people do their moves, like, you know what I'm saying, like could it be like, you know, sexual is what I'm asking. Not just because it's on the pole. I'm just asking, do they do it?
There's a clear clinical reason for this. The person dancing does not sexualize themselves. The viewer sexualizes them. Let's put it this way: the naked human form. I'm talking about anything. The naked human form is not inherently sexual. It's the viewer. It's the person watching. It's the person absorbing that. They're the ones that sexualize it.
Well, when two strippers like get doggy style, act like they hitting it from the back, that's definitely them sexualizing it.
Maybe
that's not just me.
I'm just no. What I'm saying is, it is impossible. It is impossible to sexualize anything in this context. It is impossible to sexualize anything without a viewer to absorb it and sexualize it for you. You can't sexualize something you're doing yourself. It has to be observed, and then the recipient sexualizes it.
I got you. I hear what you're saying. I just strongly disagree.
You can disagree. It don't make it wrong.
It's like a tree falling in the woods, but nobody's there to hear it. Like, does it still make a sound? Like,
no,
just because I'm not there to observe it being sexual. If you do something sexual, like, it's still sexual, whether I observe it or not.
No. There's a very clear thing. Like, you remember that Britney Spears video from the 90s, the Hit Me Baby One More Time? Right?
Oh, baby.
Exactly. I remember the outcry when I was young. People said, oh, you're sexualizing this teenager. And it's like, this is just a schoolgirl dancing around singing a song. You're sexualizing it. Do you know what I mean? The viewer is sexualizing it. If you just go, oh, look, a poor teenage girl upset about her teenage boyfriend. But because you put on the plaid skirt and there's the male fantasy, the schoolgirl thing, it's the viewer that's sexualizing it, not the person dancing.
But that's just like saying, like, you know, you put somebody in church clothes and like you're churching them up. Like, yeah, if you put somebody in a certain, you know, wardrobe that gives them a certain look, like it does put them in that category. If you dress somebody like a, I guess, quote unquote thug, you said, man, you thugging them out. Like, okay. Yeah, that's going to kind of just come with that description. I get what you're saying.
No, let me put a finer point on it for the listeners, just so we're clear here. Have you ever seen a mascot? You know, a big mascot, like a sports mascot that walks around, and maybe it's a lion, or maybe it's a tiger, or maybe it's somebody in a dolphin costume or something like that, and they're dancing around. Do you find that to be sexual?
No.
But if that mascot was a plaid skirt, I definitely would. Just let me finish it first. You don't find that sexual, but if I found a furry and I brought that furry to that same thing and said, hey, look at that. A furry is somebody who's attracted sexually to people in animal costumes. If I brought a furry to there, they would be like, yeah, that's pretty hot. You know,
yeah, but
that's the guy in the tiger costume.
Yeah, that's just their fetish. But everybody,
it's not a fetish. What I'm saying is the person viewing it. It's beauty is in the eye of the beholder. No, so is sexuality.
No, I got you. But what I'm saying is, but everybody, whether you're into the furry or not, can see, just say, a woman in a short plaid skirt, and everybody can agree whether it's your thing or not. You can be like, oh yeah, that's sexy. Like that can be a common thought because it is.
Even a gay man. Even a gay man.
Gay men, they give women that compliment all the time that a woman is sexy. Like,
yeah, but
I'm saying because it's a certain look. Like, sexy is a look. Like that. Like, people, you know what I'm saying. Like, that's why we even, I don't know if you was on the episode, but we had the whole conversation about, can you wear the God is dope on the sexy dress? Because like that is a look. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just is. Like, every different types of looks are looks.
Depends on where you are
with the tape on it and whatever, and you can be like, oh, you look nerdy or whatever. Like, it's everything, every type of different little way that you dress.
It depends on where you are, who you are, and what culture you're living in at the time. Because guess what? Every woman wants a fat ass right now, and every man wants a woman with a fat ass right now. But if we go back to 1991, no, you couldn't get a man for days with a fat ass. You just couldn't. It just wasn't part of it. You wanted the thin girl with the small ass.
It must have been in the white community, because
no, it was pretty much everywhere.
Booties have always been a thing for us.
Yeah, that's how Halle Berry became famous, right? With her big, luscious booty.
Nah, she's not. She's never been known as the person with the ass. She just was always just, you know, beautiful.
Because that wasn't a thing previous to 2000. Sir Mix-a-Lot changed that.
I'm telling you, I was born previous to 2000, and I'm telling you, it wasn't.
Okay.
I meant to tell you, I like your braids.
Sentient.
Thank you.
All right. Church announcements.
Those are the out of town braids.
Man, it's vacation braids.
Get them wet, vacation braids.
Black girl vacation vibes.
Right.
I will say this in terms of church announcements, though we don't do them anymore. I recommended our podcast.
We don't do them anymore.
I mean, we don't do them like this anymore. But I recommend it, and I don't know if it's like this, and I don't want to change it today. But you have to type in the Worst Ones podcast. Do we say that?
Yes.
Yes. It's the Worst Ones PK on Instagram, but then you say podcast on all those.
And you say the Worst Ones podcast? Okay. Yes. Because they tried to just giving it to someone today, and they tried to just type in the Worst Ones, and it didn't show up. They had to get the Worst Ones podcast. Okay. I just want to make sure I said that. But you can find me at Princess Kells.
They can't.
Well, I mean, you can type it in.
Nobody finds Kells.
But you can find me. You just can't follow me.
What's the point of finding you then?
You can find me. You just can't follow me at Princess Kells 51.
If you want to request to follow me, you can go to Princess Kells 51. What does the 51 mean? I think. Oh yeah, you said your line number. That's right. Mm-hmm.
It makes her feel good just to have the requests.
I low key because I'm planning to have a good time and post a lot next week. I may open it up. We'll see.
She's not going to approve it, but it makes her feel good.
I may open it.
You're gonna do shit. All right. Terry Wayne.
It's Terry Wayne Comedy on all social media platforms. Just that easy. Terry Wayne Comedy. And the book, Unclaimed Ashes, is on sale on Amazon. Hardcover. It is. Hardcover, paperback, and Kindle.
No, not like it's not like that. No, not sale like a discount, like meaning like you can purchase it on sale.
Oh.
Right?
Yes.
We got a Black Friday sale coming up for Unclaimed Ashes.
I hadn't thought of that, but sure, maybe.
I mean, I already have it for the rest
of
the
Probably not. But check in and see. If you message me at Terry Wayne Comedy, I will give you a discount. How about that?
Oh man, I missed out.
Well, you gave me the idea. So.
At JRihanna __
doesn't get it. No.
We have
doesn't get a promotion. She ain't here.
We have fun over there.
Claiming to have surgery, you know.
She came in with her hospital bands. Nah, keep her in your prayers. She won't be with us for the rest of the year. But keep her in your prayers. She like Rudy said, she's on the sick and shut-in list. In January.
You feel me?
If you want to join us, hit us up in the DMs at the Worst Ones PK.
All right. Shout out to the stripper. And any other pastors who need to go ahead and walk away and live your truth. I suggest you do so.
That's the closing statement.
Because y'all out here playing anyways.
Nobody but God can judge you.
Shake your ass for the Lord. No, I'm just kidding. All right, we the worst.